right, John. Now, I did impugn your tech savviness earlier, but we can't do that for our next guest, and that's actually why he's in here with us.
Right.
Because around the Thanksgiving table at my in-laws' house, there was a lot of talk about, everybody had the circulars out looking at the phones and the tablets and the computers and the notebooks and everything. I mean, it's become such a big thing around the holiday season, whether it's buying for a gift or getting a good deal for yourself on some of these things. But there are a lot of questions because things change so much in this industry, and that's why we grabbed Jason Peterson, who's an expert in this. He's the president over at Turbine Interactive, and appreciate your time, Jason. How you doing?
Hey, guys. How you doing, man?
It's crazy. This stuff moves faster now, and I sound like kind of an old man saying this, but it really does. The products turn over faster now than they ever have, even 10 years ago.
Yeah, it's insane. I mean, the amount of change that you have to try to keep up with in terms of technology. You're right. I mean, for a lot of people, it can be very frustrating. So you're just trying to figure out, where am I going to get my most bang for my buck, in terms of buying something that in 2 years it isn't going to already be outdated.
Yeah. Is there such thing anymore as a timeless piece of technology, something that will last a little bit longer and not lose its relevance faster?
I mean, I think you're right. It's kind of an oxymoron somewhat, but I would say that, I tell people that usually – the cheapest thing is typically that's you don't want to go lowball too much. I'm all about kind of that happy median. But for most people, it is about the experience now. Most of the time, these techies and the stuff, it's like people just want stuff to work, and they want it to be reliable. I know Jack and I were talking about his frustration with some things on his phone, and that's the stuff that torques people off, is if it doesn't work. So to me, it's really about the best experience and what you're trying to accomplish, and that's ultimately what we try to recommend.
We can get into phones, but I think probably the big item that people talk about the most are tablet computers right now. And while they're certainly high-end, and I know not a lot of people are necessarily buying them as gifts, there are a lot of people that are maybe considering a purchase of these, maybe weighing it against a laptop as well. What's the status of these things now? Because a year ago, you had maybe 3 of these, the Samsung, maybe the Zoom, and maybe the iPad that were coming, and now it seems like the market's flooded. Give us an overview.
Absolutely. I mean, this has been probably one of the quickest evolutions in terms of a product that didn't exist. I mean, more or less, yes, there was some crappy Windows tablets that kind of existed in the last 5 to 10 years, but in terms of until the iPad was introduced, that wasn't even really a market segment. But in terms of the adoption, it is sick. I mean, it's been faster than any other technology. You're right. I mean, the biggest challenge right now is there is a ton of options that are out there. I think the biggest one that's getting the most splash, other than the iPad, is the Kindle Fire. And, it's a decent tab, and I'll talk a little bit about that. But it's, I think, again, I myself included, with our business, we focus in kind of the techie marketing space, and we try to practice what we preach. And I didn't use tablets either originally, and I kind of dismissed the iPad as a toy, for my, kids and stuff. But literally, I almost use that as my entire computer 90% of the time.
Wow.
So now part of it has to do with the way we run our business. But when I got the iPad 2, I got it as a gift. I was like, holy smokes, this is the real deal. And a lot of it has to do with the experience and the apps. I mean, it's about productivity. But then I've got a 1.5-year-old that we play the Elmo game, and I kid you not, that is like her favorite thing. The kid's learning. I mean, it's nuts. And if you think about it, it's about touch. I mean, let's consider, I'm kind of a history dude. So computers started with, the whole keyboard crap thing, and then you obviously introduced the mouse as an input device. Now you're talking about your fingers. So that's like very innate. So I think it is the touch technology is changing the way people interact. My 86-year-old grandfather, who is a farmer, no interest in technology, literally saw my iPad, started to use it. I showed him National Geographic's magazine that was interactive with videos, and he, no kidding, said, I want that.
Wow.
And I was like, unbelievable. That is game changer when you see that generation. I mean, the utmost respect.
Oh, exactly. Anyone who, and I'm thinking, perfect example would be like my dad. My dad barely can operate the laptop computer that they have, or the home computer that they have. But if you can relate that technology to all age groups, then you've obviously made an impact. Have you made enough of an impact, however, to completely render the laptop useless?
I wouldn't say so. I mean, I think there's still a place, for myself, for I'd say on-the-go usage, I think there's where the tablet really is a great aspect. Because, again, your phone can do a lot of those things, but it's in a small form factor. So being able to take notes, I know I've run into some bank presidents and some other CEOs, and once they've recognized that convenience where, gosh, I don't need to lug around a laptop with me, I think there's where the tablet's a great tool. But in terms of sitting down and getting stuff done, I still think there's definitely going to be a market segment for a tablet, or as you've seen some of these tablets, they convert into kind of a laptop where they have then the keyboard and such.
Right.
We're talking with Jason Peterson of Turbine Interactive, talking tech. Okay, so let's look at the market now for tablets. Obviously, the iPad 2 is the big dog right now.
Right.
It's got, I'm sure, way more market share than any other competitors. Is there any reason to even look at any of the other competitors that are out there right now?
I think so. I would say, depending upon your use. The reason right now the iPad has such the lead is because of the experience and the amount of applications. So you've got all these people developing stuff for it. Now, the interesting thing about the Kindle Fire is they're looking at this as a loss leader. So for them, they're all about content. So if you're looking for a tablet that maybe is more kind of a media piece, again, it doesn't do the iTunes thing, but you've got the access to the MP3s from Amazon. You've got the Kindle integration. You've got, all the Facebook and Twitter and all the different stuff. To me, in that aspect, I think that the Kindle Fire probably presents the greatest opportunity for a consumer success next to the iPad.
The Kindle, to me, it comes across as like, what am I thinking of? The Palm products. The original smartphone, and it wasn't a phone, but the original, I guess, tablet-based device that was about the size of a phone was the Palm, and everyone was talking about how this was the next big thing. Of course, it got passed by as soon as we were able to integrate phone technology into it, more computer technology. And the Kindle was seen as, okay, this is the device that allows you to read books without having a book. Have they successfully then made the transition from just being that functionality to being, full-fledged tablet?
I think it's right now, as a version 1, I think it's decent. I do think that the only thing as I've heard is it's a little cheap in terms of its construction. It's more plasticky. But so far the reviews have been, from a user standpoint, it's been a good experience. Again, for those techie people, Amazon does run the Android, so any of the Android apps run on that. So I think, but the biggest challenge right now is that there's not as many. I think the latest count, there's over 100,000 apps for the iPad. So it really gets down to what do you want it.
Yeah.
If you want like a Kindle with some extra, buzzes and whistles, then I think the Kindle Fire is a good option. But if you're wanting something that has a little bit more flexibility and a little more robustness, again, I can, put this into an HDMI connection into a TV or a projector with my iPad. Right. I think it has a little bit more. Again, you get what you pay for.
On any of these, though, like even the Kindle Fire, you're still able to integrate like an Outlook email address and those sorts of things. That's basic then.
Yep.
So that would
it's got the Gmail and all that stuff and the calendar and the contacts.
Is this a really good time to get great deals on laptop computers because there's so many people focused on tablets?
Oh, it's sick right now.
Is it?
Yeah, it really is. I think that, in fact, my wife and I were just shopping for one last night for her, and part of this is those segments, they're evolving. If you hear the MacBook Air is created, I'm both a PC and Mac guy, called the Ultrabook, which is it's a very, very thin form factor of a laptop. Those are a little bit more expensive, but man, you can get a heck of a laptop for $500. Yeah. Straight up. There's some crazy deals. For those that are paying attention, it's, I think, Cyber Monday today, so it's kind of the whole Black Friday equivalent of the online retailers. So I would definitely watch for them.
I mentioned this earlier when we were talking. Is it even worth buying a digital camera anymore unless you're buying unless you're buying like a high-end $800 one? Because this thing that I've got this Zoom phone, and it takes ridiculous. It's an 8.0 megapixel. It takes unbelievable pictures.
This is my take. Again, I consider the pictures and videos of my daughter priceless. I do not. We have retired the digital cameras. My wife and I both have a Droid X. That is all we use. It is.
You don't use
phenomenal.
a separate video camera either?
No, because I can take HD video with these things. Now, again, Can you get better? Yes. I mean, if you want to go up, but like for even our clients, we take a lot of YouTube videos, tons of them, just on the phones.
What?
Like we have a little studio with an iPhone.
And it's like you take a picture on a camera now, and this makes me sad. You take a picture on a regular digital camera now, and you're disappointed you can't put it right on Facebook or so,
Exactly.
You know what I mean.
You want to be able that instant integration. The key is the lens. I think that's the thing for viewers is the reason the new iPhone got such good reviews is it's got a good lens in it. So the megapixels is important, but the more important aspect is the quality of the lens. If you get a good lens in it, but yeah, these things. Oh my gosh, I'm never going to buy a digital camera again.
How much of a game changer is Sprint having the iPhone now? This happened in about October.
I mean, to me, I think it is. I mean, I think now there's really no excuse, and you're going to see the opportunity for mass adoption. My only thing and my challenge to the iPhone is you haven't seen a ton of innovation over the last 3 years, and the emergence of Droid. And, I mean, again, you're looking at two different philosophies.
Right.
And right now, if you were to ask me, if I was to use one or the other for my purpose, it's about a wash. There are some things that right now I like. I'm a Droid phone user, iPad tablet user. But to me, my challenge to them is if they could still innovate and do some things. Siri, which is the whole voice recognition thing, yeah, it's cool. But I'm not seeing game-changing evolution yet.
That was happening
iPhone.
on apps already, though. They
Correct.
make a huge deal about that thing where
yeah.
you can talk into it, but there's been an app like that there's an app like that for my BlackBerry.
No, I was going to say I've been doing voice to text on my Droid for 2 years, so it's nothing new to me.
It makes a good commercial, though.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. It's cute.
The tablet was the last big thing that has happened, and obviously it's sprouting. Is there something else out there? Everyone's always looking for that next big thing that's just going to explode on the scene.
This is what I think. I get this always. It's a common question. I went to the Consumer Electronics Show for kicks last year. Yeah, that is.
I've always wanted to go to that.
That is
fun.
insane, guys. I mean, imagine. I tell people, although Best Buy stores are getting smaller now, but Samsung's booth was like 5 Best Buys.
Wow.
That's one booth.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
It was redonkulous.
And
Okay.
so what is the next big
Well,
thing?
so this is what based on what I'm seeing and just my gut, is that you're seeing interconnectivity with multiple devices. So I think it's not so much the introduction of a new device as it is smart technology into things like refrigerators, washers and dryers, dishwashers, things that you think are stupid. Your car is an obvious one. I mean, I've got a Ford Fusion, and we have the Microsoft Sync thing, which I've used some. It's okay. But just sort of that interconnectivity of, you're using intelligence now, and it's going to create some conveniences. Now, how that manifests, I don't know. That's going to be who makes the bucks.
I've always wanted a washing machine that posts on Facebook when I'm washing my underwear.
I know.
I mean, it's like Jack is washing his underwear, 10 likes immediately. Like without me having to do anything, just load it up.
But it's the ability, if I forgot to turn the thing on and I know I've got a load of laundry
Correct.
loaded, I can just
Correct.
punch the app on my phone and boom, it starts.
I want a thermostat app. I'm sure there is
Yes,
one, but
there
I would.
is.
I mean,
I know in the lighting industry, a lot there's some interconnectivity, and you're right. It's a little geeky right now, but
Right.
it's evolving.
well, and I got to think the TV is about to is on
Absolutely,
the verge
yes.
of completely
That's
changing.
No,
I mean,
you're
somehow.
dead on. I mean, I think that the way that we're getting, content delivered, you guys included. I mean, it's the same kind of thing. Is how do we consume our content? I mean, that's what I tell people. We're in the consumable content business. So that flexibility. I mean, I know I've used both. I've got Dish Network, but I stream my Dish. So I'm sitting, working in a room on my son who's going to be born. I've got my phone streaming my Dish so I can watch the football game in another room.
Very cool.
Or
By the
I'm
way,
at the gym.
good time to mention the KLIN app is available
Yes,
on your
that's
Apple,
right.
Android,
Yes.
and BlackBerry, and
Absolutely.
works very well. And you can listen right on your phone. Jason Peterson from Turbine Interactive. Cool stuff, great
Absolutely.
stuff. We need to get you in again.
Yes, we do.
Because
Sounds
we
good,
only
guys.
we only touched the tip here of all the things we want to talk about. Thanks so much, Jason.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
8:53 on 1400 KLIN.
Speaking of tech gurus, here's Kim Commando and her Digital Minute now on 1400 KLI.